Hello there, Starlet. So this is the fun video for the week, and I have got my paws on the Dark Wood Tarot by Sasha Graham and the art by Abigail Larson. I will confess the art is the reason I totally got this because I really adore the deep, dark, gothic, macabre, forest, almost Halloween-esque artwork that is present here in this deck. I really adore the pictures, and so I grabbed this as a tarot deck, and it is unusual for me in that there's quite a lot of humanoids in it, but I think for me it's because it's not trying to be realistic, it's not trying to mimic human, I don't know, it's not trying to be real, I guess, and doesn't feel real as a result. The art is very stylized. I enjoy the stylized gothic vibe of it, so I grabbed it. I do feel that it's going to be more of a magic-based tarot deck for me than it is divination, if that makes sense to people. So for me, there are certain tarot decks that you read. I have had a look at the images already, so I could tell you my thoughts as we show you some cards. There are certain tarot decks that you read, they speak to you, they give you lots of insight, you connect deeply with the imagery, you connect with the imagery so deeply it transports you to another world, it conjures up images in your mind, it gives you words, it gives you feelings and empathy for what's happening in a situation. Certain other cards don't kind of transport you, you kind of channel through them, and that is definitely one of these. So the images and the idea, the very Halloween-y vibe, the very haunted forest, is almost an extension of how I vibe aesthetically anyway, so it kind of feels like my energy goes through the cards and creates manifestation rather than receiving, if that makes sense. So I'm guessing what I'm saying is I find there are projective decks and receptive decks, and this would be more of a projective deck because it is projecting your energy through it. For me personally, it's not going to be the same for everyone. So first, for the cat spirits among us, this is a really great box. I love a really great box. Look at this. It's a big, thick, chunky, I like 'em chunky. I like 'em big. Kudos if you know my childhood references. Box, there is a magnetic clip, which I love, and look at the artwork. Oh my goodness, it's an apple. It's an apple, guys. Spoilers, but you know. And then this is the booklet. The booklet is big and thick and chunky and fully colored, which is great. That doesn't happen all the time. You see all this beautiful detail with the leafing, and then you get full-blown images. These spoilers with these full-blown images. And then the work isn't too bad. Some of the bits and pieces are really interesting. It's a little on the nose for interpretations, so it goes with the very traditional meanings of each card, but I will say that some of the ideas are interesting. But I wish they'd expanded on the more interesting ideas in the journaling bit, and I guess that's for us to do as we work with them, right? Which is a nice jumping off point. So, for example, we had the Eight of Swords this week in our Patreon reading, and it mentions witch hunts, but that's it. It just mentions the witch hunt and the demonization of the feminine, and I thought, oh, that's really interesting as a concept, but then it wasn't expanded upon. So I was like, oh, but no more. Now I must conjure more. But so it depends how you feel about that. If you're happy to journal and you want that, then it's great. I will also say there's a foxes. Oh, there's a foxes. Yay! So you know Joey's happy, and black cats. Foxes and kitties. Joey's sold. But you can see why the imagery speaks to me. I would dress like this if my waist was that tiny. One day soon. And so back into the box, you have this gorgeous red thread which comes down the bottom, and originally you could just, you know, boop, and it was under the cards originally, and Joey, in her wisdom, didn't put it back under the cards to just boop the cards out. Now, I will say my dear friend has edged her cards in this deep dark red, and I think she did this amazing job. Oh, is that the bottom? That's always confusing to me. Right, so that's actually the bottom. That's not a card. And you're like, oh, come on, card. And then you're like, oh, no, it's not. But this is the box. It's a really nice job. This is cardboard, nice and thick. It's a really great box that you can keep your cards in if you want to. I often do. I know some people prefer bags and things, but when the box is this good, it's a really good box, guys. Meow! It's a really good box, Daisy. Come sit in it. Not really, because you know, floof it. It'll get floofed sooner or later, let's face it. Anyway, my dear friend edged these in red. Now, I don't know how to edge. I don't dare edge because, honestly, I don't trust myself to do it. I think that I would muck it up. I know that I am both clumsy and impatient, and so I have no desire to mess up my tarot decks this way. But my friend did them in this dark red, and that's absolutely stunning. I kind of wish they'd done that themselves, because these pops of red throughout, she kind of took that and edged them like that, and I was like, that's such a smart idea. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Right, this is the backing of the cards. It kind of has this very Gothic, it almost reminds me of Maleficent in styling, you know, from the original Disney Sleeping Beauty. It reminds me of her castle architecture almost, and the way that she's represented, and then it has almost as if it's a family crest going on in the centre, which I love because it has that haunted house, Addams Family kind of vibe, and which is really nice. And it has this beautiful haunted Halloween greeny colour going on, this sort of dark lime, and I'm here for it. So, all right, I will say, I wish the images were ever so slightly bigger and the borders were ever so slightly less. Now, I do enjoy how the image sort of goes over into the edging. I really like that as an idea. I really appreciate that. But I just wish maybe the cards were just slightly bigger. And I feel like there's always this thing that happens with tarot cards, that people are kind of torn between how they feel in the hand to most people or how the imagery looks. And I prefer them to be a bit bigger, and the images to be, you know, really appreciated, because the images are so freaking beautiful. I just wish they were slightly bigger. That's like my only complaint throughout the whole deck. I just wish the images were a bit bigger so I could love you more. But look at this. Look at this. Look at it. Look at the Fool. She's gorgeous. She is, of course, on the front of the book, so you can... This is what I mean. This, you see, when you see her in her full glory, you notice things like the spider, which I probably wouldn't notice, this teeny tiny spider here. I love her sort of barefoot, broken stockings, oh, and the pops of red, and the flower in her hand, and this red sack. It's just gorgeous. And I do really love when we get to the World card, it's the same woman, and it's obviously the same woman, and which I really enjoy. And a cat and a fox. We're going to go through the major arcana especially, and then I will show you the odd thing about the minor that I really love, otherwise we'll be here for too long. So this is the Magician with his owl, and you can see the things going over again. It's a lovely interpretation. As above, so below is there, which is great. There's pops of red again. I love the tablecloth detailing falling off in those rolls. I love the details in these cards. They're really great, and you can discover lots and lots of things, which again is why I wish the images was just slightly bigger, so you could just discover them in all their glory. The High Priestess. And you can see the detailing of the dark woods in the trees here, which I love. In her nice ember green, becoming one with the lake beneath her, which is cool. The Empress. Little baddies. I love the Emperor. Do you want to live deliciously? The Hierophant is this great tree spirit. Oh, I kind of freaking love her. It reminds me of that Silver Birch mini horror movie with her sacred symbols on her thing. Oh, turtles. I love it. I love it. The Lovers is super interesting. Kind of gives it a kind of dark overture of some kind of ritualistic sense. It's really cool. Then the Chariot. I love Strength. Snake Charming. Oh, gorgeous. The Hermit is the one on the front. I really love the Hermit. I love all the imagery up the tree here. I love it feels very Morganic, or perhaps Hecate vibe to it. This long red cloak fabric moving and the little star movement throughout. I love it. The Wheel of Fortune is very Sleeping Beauty. Look at that. On the spinning wheel and die. Hashtag Maleficent. Right, so then Justice. I love the colour here. The way the colour is sort of flowing out through her there, and they're dressed in the very dark red with the Justice around their eyes, and then she embodies that within her dress, and that bleeds out into this pink. It's so clever with their imagery. The Hanged Man is actually the Hanged Woman, and she's very batty, and there's a batty, so you make sure you know. Death is great. Death is a great card. It's really interesting. I really like the Death card. Massive scythe. So everything is exaggerated. It's slightly cartoonesque. Temperance is again this beautiful green shade. That's very Maleficent though. Look at that. Very Maleficent from the movies, recent movies. Or quite Morganic, really. There's the Devil. The Tower, very Dracula. There is vampiric themes throughout, of course. The Star is lovely. The Moon, we like the moon. Between the two towers and the two howling wolves. That makes me think of the movie Ninth Gate, for whatever reason. The Sun. And then Judgment, as you can see, is very vampiric. And then this is the World, and you can see it's the same woman, which I really love with the cat. Sorry, the cat and the fox again are still there, still images, but it's kind of come full circle, come into her power, and I love that about the World card. Look how strong the Ace of Wands is. My goodness, the aces are all really freaking strong, and I kind of love this ethereal witchy hand that just comes out. Now wands are my favorite because I'm biased, and I always look at this though, witchy AF with the apples. I love it. I'm not going to show you all of them by any means. I'm going to show you some of my favorites from it. So the Queen of Wands I find to represent me in a deck, so it's always really important that I vibe with it, and if I don't, I get very cross. But I was looking at this, I was like, this could be me. This could be me. Like if my hair would just grow. That is kind of my natural hair colour-ish, or a bit lighter. But yeah, I was like, oh, that could be me. That's awesome. And again, look how strong the Ace of Cups is. Oh, look at it. Look at it, look at it. Oh, the aces are super strong. And I will say, more foxies, more foxies, more foxies. That's a recommendation from Joey, because she loves the foxies. And then you have a family of wolves. It's so cute. So cute. There's a really interesting mix of cute humour and horror in here, which I really appreciate. So again, the Ace of Swords is super strong, very Excalibur, as it frequently is. Look at the Three of Swords. Punchy, no? With the giant spider. And just in case we wanted some more Sleeping Beauty references, they turn up quite a bit. There is a little bit of a fairy tale vibe, of course, going through, but it is a much darker, more close to the folklore version of fairy tales going on. So again, you have Red Riding Hood. So you do have these references. Now, I really freaking appreciate the pentacles, because pentacles are associated with earth, and as such, it usually can, well, not usually, it quite often gets gypped in art for tarot. But this is gorgeous. This was on the front of the box, on the inside of it, sorry. And that big apple in the sky, I super appreciate it. Plus there are pumpkins. Joe is happy, happy, happy. And I mean, look at this. Look at this portal into the forest with these apples. I love that she did apple slices. I love it. And then this is very Woods Witch spirit. It's very good. It's very, very good. The pentacles are pretty great. And I really appreciate it. Again, that's kind of horror trope. More pumpkins. Scarecrow. So I really super appreciate it. Nipple warning for the Queen of Pentacles, but I really love her because she's kind of Poison Ivy-esque. I really adore that. And yeah, so those are the ones I really wanted to show you guys. And I'll just pop these in shot again for a second while we just finish up. I really love this deck. I find it really enjoyable. I find it very different to the other decks I own. I do feel, as I said, I'm going to be using it for magic. Perfect for the dark half of the year, which we just passed into, although it doesn't feel like it and won't until September, because I'm always like, people are like, yes, we're now in the dark half of the year. And I'm like, if only, because Joey's not a fan of overly hot conditions, which apparently we're having this week in the UK. Yay, side note. But this deck is really beautiful. I really highly recommend it. I do, of course, have some feelings about things that I think would be great if tweaked, but they're just personal preferences. They're not anything that would stop you enjoying this deck. You do get the full art in massive, glorious glory in the book, which I truly appreciate, and I really appreciate the colour in the book, because most don't do that. You get like a black and white version in the book, if you get the images at all. It depends on what they do. If you get a nice big chunky book like this, you usually do. If they do a leaflet, then you don't. But I really appreciate that attention to detail. I love the pops of red, the blood, the vibrance, the animals, the folklore, the fairy tales, the vampiricness, the haunted forests. I'm all about that jam. It's like Halloween on overdrive, and I'm in and I love it. So I do highly, highly recommend this deck, and it's available now. So I hope you guys enjoyed this fun little video for the week. We've got more to come. Many blessings.